Hello, welcome to another episode of EETV, where we strive to bring you everything in entertainment. Now, this is something that we usually don't talk about it here, but just like a comic book, we have two creators going at it head to head, so we have to talk about this issue. Now, see here in this picture, the owner of Black Sands Entertainment, Manuel Godoy, dislikes Mr. Eric July, the owner of the Rippaverse. You can read in that post here, we will always say there is a lot of money in that. I'm not going to repeat that word, life. The Fox News article is exactly what I expected. People will still argue with me that this guy isn't exactly what he has been for the last few years. Now, for those of you who don't know what that word means, look it up, because I'm not going to repeat that here. You can see here, these are some of my posts that I put here, because I'm known as Sketching Enigma on Instagram. And I had a few words for that, because here you have one comic book owner tearing down another owner just because he doesn't like his politics. Now, I like watching Mr. Eric July's channel because he really knows his stuff when it comes to comic books. And it's some things that I read when I was younger that I completely forgot that he reminded me of just by watching his show. So I like his material. I like Black Sands Entertainment as well. I have a couple of hardcovers of Black Sands Entertainment, and I'm enjoying that read as well. And what I didn't like is the fact that young Ripper, Eric July, didn't say anything at all. Nothing at all about Black Sands Entertainment. So for Mr. Godoy to say that about him, I didn't. That was a definitely bad look. That was very unwise. It shows that you are very envious of what young Ripper Eric July was able to do. And how do I know that Manuel Godoy is jealous of young Ripper Eric July? I happened to catch Mr. Godoy's live when he was on Instagram this morning. I looked at his body language. I looked at him in the eyes when he was looking into the camera, and he was addressing some of the questions that people were putting up in the comments section. And the answer that he gave to why he did this, he did not want to be associated with the Rippaverse. And I find that very interesting, because that is one of the most weakest responses that I ever heard to a question, because anybody who's interested in comic books is going to do their due diligent research and look in who owns the company. We all know that Manuel Godoy's company is older. So it's nobody's going to confuse the two, because Black Sands Entertainment has been around longer. He said it's because in the future, this could be a problem for him. That was a completely weak answer. That shows that you're envious of young Ripper Eric July, because he was able to raise over $2 million in such a short amount of time. And as recording of this video, they're well over 2.5 million. And just to go along with the rest of the facts, Eric July put up the money for that book. And that 2.5 million, probably way over that by now, is not crowdfunded. Those are pre-orders. So that was amazing what he was able to do. I mean, that gave me just the kick in the butt that I needed to finish what I'm doing for my work. But there are always new stories being created every day. And for Mr. Godoy just to want to be the king of the hill and show envy and use that racial slur that you saw beginning with the letter S shows that he was really trying to come at Eric July and hurt him, and wanted to get his attention that he wanted to hurt him, because Eric July didn't say anything about Manuel Godoy. And for him to just come out here like that shows that you got a problem. Now, if you go over and check his Instagram page now, he edited it. You won't see that anymore on there. So for what he said, if it wasn't a problem, then why did you have to edit it and clean it up? And I tell you why, because that was a bad look, and you did it out of anger, and he did it out of anger, and he did it out of being envious of another man. Now, when it comes, because I'm a black man as well, when it comes to that, for those of you who are not black and you listen to this, that's called the crab in the barrel mentality. How you don't want nobody else to do well, and if you ever observe crabs that are inside of a barrel or another small enclosure, if one starts to escape, then the others will pull them back in. So it's like someone else is being successful and you don't want them to be successful, so you're trying to pull them down because you want to be the one with the ultimate success. That was a bad look for Black Sands Entertainment, for Manuel Godoy, because that man, Eric July, Young Ripper, didn't say anything bad about your company at all. He didn't say anything about Black Sands Entertainment, and I should know that because I watched the channel. Now, you're dealing with someone that does not share the same political views as Eric July, and I also don't share the same political views as Manuel Godoy. So you're getting a fair and balanced analysis here. Him being a business owner, that is a bad look for the business, because there are always going to be people bringing up new products just because that's how it is, competition. Now, when he gave that weak excuse when I watched that live on Instagram, saying he didn't want to be associated, well, look at things in popular culture that are similar products, which means they pull out the same things that's in the same category, but not necessarily are the same thing. Look at Marvel and DC. Those of you who are interested in comic books, they'll know the difference between Marvel and DC, especially in the past. There was a huge difference between the two. There's no way you could associate the two unless you were completely clueless for comic books. Look at Sega and Nintendo, especially when Sega was still manufacturing hardware. You didn't think those were the two because they had different names, and you quickly found out they were not alike. Even though they had similar products, they were very different. So for him, for Mr. Godoy to say that, that was a very weak excuse. He was covering up his envy. And that's a bad look, because what if someone else becomes more popular than Young Ripper and starts putting another book out there? Are you going to do the same thing about them? Or is it all because of politics? And this is why I'm a stern believer. Besides this video that I created right here, this is why I'm a firm believer that popular culture, that means anything that's animated, video game, all this stuff, even though you can sprinkle some politics in there to give it more of a kick and to make it relate to certain things, this is why I'm a firm believer that politics does not belong in comics. It does not, because then people get too caught up in the politics and don't focus on all the artwork and the general story. And then you have things like this, because them two, as far as I know, they have never met. So you have one individual not even knowing the other individual, and then you're only focusing on politics that maybe he was able to pull up 5 minutes ago, because Black Sands has been around for 6 years. That's how long I've been following this. And he has not once, beyond today, mentioned Eric July, Young Ripper. So for you to mention it now, because the Rippaverse has gained so much steam, over $2.5 million just off of pre-orders, and it was not crowdfunded, shows that you are jealous, envious of what that man has done, because you never mentioned him before, just like he's never mentioned you before. This is why politics and comics do not mix. It's like oil and water. Don't mix. It's a bad look. I think it's going to hurt his sales. I do, and I repeat it twice. I do not want this to hurt himself, to hurt Manuel Godoy's sales. I do not want this to hurt his sales. But I can guarantee you this, he has definitely alienated some of his audience. And then the other thing he gave, the other excuse he gave, because he was trying to protect his audience, the fans of his material, to show that he's separate. Now, last time I checked, now, please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section, you have to go to Black Sands Entertainment, or you have to go to Amazon to purchase Black Sands books, which means if that individual is not 18 years old, and has their hands on a credit card, they can't purchase those books, which means more than likely an adult is buying these books for their child. Or if you're like me, in the case you like comics, you're buying them, which means the audience is 18. The people who are buying the books are above 18 years old. So who are you protecting? That's the question I would ask Mr. Manuel Godoy. Who are you protecting if someone who's above 18 years old has access to a credit is buying these books? Because any parent who's buying these books for a child will do their due diligence to see if their child can handle such material. And I will say this, yes, the children can handle this material in this book, in Black Sands. They can. So who are you protecting yourself from? That shows that you're envious. You can disagree all you want politically, but to come at somebody's work just because you don't like their politics, that shows that you're completely envious of the project. It really does. Having seen this, he also, Mr. Godoy, Black Sands Entertainment, also did a second live stream, and I didn't even watch it. And the reason why I didn't watch it because completely shut down after the first stream. I didn't want to see nothing more after I saw the first stream, because that's like, that is not a reason to dislike someone. And seeming as how he didn't mention Mr. Eric July, Young Ripper, before, shows you really weren't paying attention to his politics. Just having someone, not liking someone because of their politics, and not mentioning at all, nothing at all about Eric July until now, you really showed your hand, and it was an unwise decision. I'll say this, I hope it does not affect your sales, Mr. Manuel Godoy, but I can tell you this much, you have definitely alienated some of your audience. Have you alienated me? No, I like the work, and I am going to continue to buy, but I'm going to watch it. What he says, if it ever comes to a point where he says, hey, if you don't share the same thing that I share, and I don't want you buying my book, and then that's when I would stop buying. And this is why I said the politics and comics don't mix. This is because everybody has a different view on how things should be run. Even people who are somewhat like-minded, not everybody agrees with every single issue that you might have on your table. So working with somebody, being respectful with somebody that does not have your political agenda, everybody goes through that through a basis. I'm sure if you would ask some of the political agendas of some of the people who does the artwork for Black Sands Entertainment, you could see that some of their lines doesn't match up. For him to do that was, in my opinion, not right at all. Well, I thank you for tuning in to watch this video. That is not something that we would do here. I like to focus on just the work and the artwork. That's it. And the story to show whether a media is good. That's the only thing I like to focus on, because in the end, that's all that matters. Nobody's going, 15 years from now, everybody's political agenda and stuff will rearrange all over again. And then all of a sudden, stuff that people align with now will either be good or bad, depending on what's the hot button topics there. So this is why I really don't focus on a lot of stuff. I thought that I had to address this, because me being the same demographic as these two gentlemen, and then seeing what's going on, I definitely thought I had to weigh on this, and I'm glad I did weigh in on this, because it's something that needed to be spoken about and discussed thoroughly, because of what I saw in those posts and what I was able to see on Young Ripper's. I saw his response video on YouTube when he first did it on Friday. I saw Manuel Godoy's post on Instagram, and I watched it on Instagram Live. And I was able to take everything in, and I'm making my own analysis. I ain't just read everybody's comments and just ran away with it. I made my own analysis on this. And my final conclusion is what Mr. Manuel Godoy did, owner of Black Sands Entertainment, was completely foul and wrong. Politics don't got nothing to do with the artwork and the story. And the one thing I'm also going to be doing is when the book releases, because I pre-ordered it, I'm going to be doing a review on it, and I'm going to do a fair review on it. And I'm glad I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered it, and I should get mine with the first batch. So I should be one of the first, if not the first, one of the first videos really giving this thing a fair and good critique before everybody else who does not like the Rippaverse and Eric July gets their hands on it and just tears the book apart just to tear it apart because they don't like the individual. I'm going to give it a fair review. So be looking forward to that in August. And I got a bunch of other content I'm going to do on. My video uploading has been sporadic of late because of a lot of things I've got going on. But we're going to strive forward and give you the best in entertainment. So with that, thank you for tuning in for this video. Like, share, and subscribe if you feel like it. We'll see you in the next video.